At a Catholic school in Minneapolis, the new school year began with tragedy. On August 27th, a 23-year-old former student opened fire during a back-to-school mass at Annunciation Church and school. By the time it ended, 2 children were dead, 17 more people were wounded, and an entire community was left shaken. The suspect, Robin Westman, turned the gun on himself after firing more than 100 rounds. The scene was chaos, the questions immediate, and the grief overwhelming. This was not just another shooting in America. Federal officials are now investigating the attack as an act of domestic terrorism and a possible hate crime. Armed with a rifle, a shotgun, and a pistol, Westman carried out what police say was a planned assault. Investigators found writings that suggest deep anger and fixation on religion. His former teachers have since come forward saying warning signs were visible for years, including self-harm and disturbing classroom behavior. Yet nothing stopped him that the political fight erupted almost instantly. For years, federal programs aimed at preventing mass shootings have seen their budgets cut. Grants that once funded intervention teams and community-based monitoring were reduced under Trump's administration. Critics argue these cuts left schools and churches more vulnerable. Supporters of the administration insist money alone cannot stop violence, pointing to cultural and mental health factors. But the divide is sharp, and while lawmakers argue more families, the human cost is what matters most. Families in Minneapolis are grieving children who will never come home. Survivors are living with trauma that will last a lifetime. Teachers who once focused on lessons and guidance are now left with nightmares of violence inside their classrooms. Across the country, parents are asking the same question. If children are not safe in school, were they safe at all? The attack did not just pierce the walls of one parish school. It pierced the idea of sanctuary itself. The symbolism of the attack has shaken not just Minnesota, but the world. The Pope himself delivered a rare message in English, pleading for an end to what he called the epidemic of weapons. Leaders of other faiths joined the call, urging lawmakers to treat gun violence not just as crime, but as a national emergency. Faith communities have long been expected to offer comfort after massacres. This time, many demanded action as well as prayer. Yet in Congress, the same pattern repeats. Republicans focus on section. The global reaction underscores a painful truth. The United States is viewed abroad as a nation that tolerates an endless cycle of mass killings. Allies watch in disbelief that the richest democracy cannot pass reforms its own citizens overwhelmingly support. Countries with similar rates of mental illness and social stress do not see weekly massacres in their schools. America does. The difference is access to firearms and the political system that keeps it that way. As if grief were not enough, the internet found a way to make things worse. A website began selling twisted t-shirts with the shooter's face and the slogan, "Protect trans kids." Outrage erupted as victims' families demanded the products be taken down. This is the brutal reality of the attention economy. Even tragedy gets commodified. In the blur between activism, exploitation, and cruelty, families find their mourning turned into someone else's marketing campaign. It is a reminder that digital culture can. The deeper issue is cultural normalization. Decades of mass shootings have turned the extraordinary into the expected. Each time the news breaks, familiar rituals unfold. Vigils, hashtags, partisan debate, and then slow fade. The normalization makes change harder. If society accepts violence as background noise, the urgency to act disappears. That is why comparisons to other countries matter. Nations like Australia, New Zealand, or the United Kingdom faced tragedy and rewrote laws. The United States faces. There is also the question of prevention. Teachers had flagged Westman years ago for troubling behavior. His mother even petitioned a court to legally change his gender identity, citing deep personal struggle. None of it triggered sustained support or intervention. The pattern repeats nationwide. Early warning signs surface. Systems lack resources or coordination. Families cry for help. Bureaucracy moves too slow. By the time action comes, it is too late. The Minneapolis case shows how a society good at there is no way to soften the truth. America remains the only wealthy democracy where school shootings are routine. Each one sparks debate, prayers, and hashtags. Each one fades from headlines until the next. The Minnesota massacre forces us to ask again. Is this the price of constitutional rights? Is this the cost of political paralysis? Or is it a sign that the system itself refuses to change? No matter how many small coffins are lowered into the ground, here is the bottom line. 2 children are gone, 17 more are hurt, and a city is broken. Leaders offer sympathy, but sympathy is not safety. Thoughts and prayers do not stop bullets. Until action replaces ritual, the cycle will continue. The lesson of Minneapolis is not only about one gunman. It is about a country that has learned to live with the unacceptable. Thanks for watching. Subscribe to Sharp Angle and turn on notifications. Independent voices matter, and your support keeps them alive.